recording. Start streaming. And we should be live. Yep, we're good. Hey, welcome everybody to this live stream. I'm Zach, and you're in my kitchen right now. So welcome to Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and I hope everybody's doing well out there today. If you're new to the channel, which you likely are, because I've absolutely zero people watching me, please subscribe and follow if you're looking for the truth and real news. I'm an American citizen, and I'd like to think that I express a certain amount of, I'd say, an opinion that's generally widespread. More and more people are being comfortable in expressing these types of opinions. But people are still, the sheep are still following in line, right? So today we're going to talk about this absolute horror of a war in Gaza, the theft of Palestinian lands and Israeli occupation of Palestine. So this has been going on for 400 and some days. It's our money funding this, people. This is what I'm making this content to get across. Generally the theme here is like, we're engaged in World War III. There's still slight time to pull it back. There's still time so things like don't end up like the front in Ukraine, which I plan on going live after this video and talking about that a bit, just to put things in proper perspective for people. So there's still time if we wake up. It's our money that's funding these wars. It's our money that is paying for the wholesale slaughter and extermination of a whole people. And this is what we're going to talk about right now in this first live stream. Go on my channel. My Substack also is linked here to this YouTube account, and you can find me talking about all the way back to when Netanyahu visited Washington in the summer. And, he pretty much laid all this out in front of us. Not exactly how it was going to happen, but we've certainly ended up much closer to the reality that he was talking about during that address than I think anyone ever thought we would. I mean, we're seeing the greater Israel plan being carried out right in front of our eyes. And at its foundation, it requires the theft of Palestinian lands, right? And this goes all the way back to, we're talking about imperialism and not neocolonialism, but like actual Ottoman Empire, right? It was their lands that was chopped up after World War I. And I think that what you're seeing in Turkey with Erdogan, or Turkey, is, him trying to reestablish control over this area that has been nothing but a Western playground since the end of the World Wars. All the states that were instituted by the UN after the Second World War are now no more. They've all been replaced. And we're literally in a new era. Neocolonialism is ruling the day in West Asia, and we're seeing major powers clash over this issue, right? Western expansion, Western theft of resources, Western exploitation of the world, and then you have the rest of the world, the global South and BRICS nations wanting to treat each other as equal, not sanction each other, and by and large, like, shed light on the truth of the matter here, which the truth is that the West are the ones that are the real terrorists and real liars. And one last thing, as I, been trying to start this channel, another important issue for me is that I know that there's a lot of compromised sources in alternative media, because I have been ingesting this media for an awful long time, and I'm able to discern, who's out there by what intelligence agencies and what part of the narrative they're trying to support. We're seeing right now a push on Western citizens to accept these wars and accept the escalation of these wars. And a lot of this is being done by compromised alternative media channels. So I'm seeking to put out not just an alternative to the mainstream BS narrative, but also an alternative to these compromised narratives in the alternative media, which there are many. And watch, you're going to see, I think we're already seeing it, but we're going to see a lot of false flags. And if you, if you have an idea of who some of these compromised channels are in your reality and in the media that you take in, take a look at how they push events and the things that they talk about. And that's all I'm going to say with that. So let's move on to some of these articles. Thank you for the 5-minute, 6-minute intro. And we're going to get down to it. I still got nobody in the chat. If anyone's out there watching, which I doubt it because I don't think my stuff's shown to anyone, but come on in and hang out. And let's see what we got going here. So we'll bring up this window. Let's see here. Whoop, I don't know what just happened. There we go. All right, pardon me a second. I'm not quite sure. Oh. I'm on the wrong browser. My bad. I'm still getting used to the software, man. Okay, now I gotta put that there. Now I gotta put me over top. Okay. So we got, I'm gonna snug up closer to my computer here. Excuse me. So the first article I have here, and I'm gonna get in the habit here of doing this on my streams, is posting all the links. So you look for those in the description if you come across this stuff. I don't have it in this one right now, and I haven't done that in my lives. But if you go to my Substack channel or my Substack account, and generally all my YouTube videos, I'm good about posting sources. It's a pretty big deal to me, and I like to even get to the primary sources. So yeah, please check all my Substack articles. They're very well cited and researched. So and likewise in this video, look for the links in the description. I'll put this whole set of tabs in there afterward. So we have on this first one, from Press TV, Doctors Without Borders saying Israel committing genocide in Gaza. Let's go here. Okay. It's not allowing me to interact with it. This program, dude. Interact. Okay. No. Man, this is whack. Okay. We're going to drop that. Let's try browser number 2 here. This is so not what I loaded in these. All right, give me a second, you guys. Let me flop over here. All right, I'm gonna try a screen share. I hope this works. I did this recently on a video, and because it's not allowing me to interact with these browsers. Oh, geez, no, I didn't want to do that. Hold on a second. Yeah, I opened something up with a screen share, and it set off this like chain of echoes that was insane. So I was trying to avoid that until I figured that out. But this is acting really weird with these browsers. So we're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna get rid of that. Okay. Screen capture. Sources. Okay. Method display. Show cursor. Oh, we can hide OBS. Let me just do that. Well, not necessarily. All I gotta do is click off of it. Right. Okay. Thanks for being patient, you guys. Hold on. Whoops. I gotta put my... There we go. Okay, so we're gonna flip over here. Doctors Without Borders saying Israel committing genocide in Gaza. Let me just make sure that we're good on the live stream here. It looks like I'm getting out of it. Yep. Okay. So here we go. Thanks for bearing with me, and hopefully this works. If there's anyone that tries to watch this and the echoes happen, I'm sorry, but we're working on things. So we got first article from Press TV. Doctors Without Borders says Israel committing genocide in Gaza. This is from Friday, December 20th, 12:19 a.m. So very, very recent, right? Yesterday. Doctors Without Borders. Secretary General Christopher Lockyer says Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. Lockyer also said on Thursday that Israel is exhibiting signs of ethnic cleansing in its military offensive in the Palestinian territory. The Israeli military is destroying the conditions of life in Gaza through 14 months of attacks on civilians, dismantling the healthcare system and infrastructure, and denying humanitarian aid, the organization said. So this right here is a big deal. We have... two issues that are at hand here. One is the wiping clean of the land. Literally, it's not just the people, but the land that they are erasing. If you see some of these pictures, John Elber on Electronic Intifada, he shows them quite often, and they're just like aerial or geosatellite pictures of the Strip and the consequences of this war and what Israel has done to the land. They had just wiped it clean. You're talking, it looks like a tsunami went through and just destroyed everything. You're talking 80-90% of the structures are just rubble. So there's that. And then the additional thing that he commented on there was talking about the aid being let in. And I have another article on that coming up. But this is an issue. Essentially, you have Gaza Strip. The people, Palestinians, are under siege. No food, no water, no medicine is being let in. Levels are back to like the pre-war actual siege of Gaza that happened in 21, 22, something like that. So they're not letting anything in, and they're when the people gather in camps, they get bombed in the camps. Recently, Israel's been making them march all over the territory. No food, no water. And it's literal torture and hell on earth, I have some statistics from, these polls that were done on children, and they're just disturbing, man. So the Israeli military is destroying the conditions of life in Gaza through 14 months of attacks on civilians. Oh, that's right, I read that. What our medical teams have witnessed on the ground throughout this conflict is consistent with the descriptions provided by an increasing number of legal experts and organizations concluding that genocide is taking place in Gaza. Last week, the United Nations General Assembly overwhelmingly adopted a resolution calling for a long overdue end to the Israeli regime's October 2023 present war of genocide in the Gaza Strip. A total of 158 countries voted in favor of the resolution. This is the common theme with the international community, right? We are more and more finding ourselves alone in the defense of Israel here. That's why you have to believe that Turkey, although selling oil to Israel and maybe looking at them in a friendly manner, he has to be having some type of setup here going on with what he allowed to happen in Syria. I just don't see a future where Erdogan once occupied, like the U.S. Army occupying lands right there, and Israel occupying these lands, and a wild, Sunni jihadi state. This has to be. There's a bigger picture here, and I feel like Erdogan is more than likely going to end up being aligned with these 158 countries. And that's just my guess, and that's my hope also. So this resolution in the United Nations, which likely is going to be vetoed like all the other ones in favor of stopping Israel or helping the Palestinians, this resolution urges an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. So let's see here. The Human Rights Watch has concluded that Israel is guilty of the crime of extermination and acts of genocide in Gaza. And that's literally this article right here, right? And we'll get to that in a second. Let me see. The U.S.-based human rights organization found that Israel has inflicted conditions of life in Gaza calculated to destroy the enclave's Palestinian population. This amounts to extermination, which is a crime against humanity and acts of genocide. We need to stand up, America. Open your eyes to this. Share these articles that I have here. Share this stream. These numbers, 45,000 Palestinians, they're probably likely way low. And here this paragraph mentions the siege that I talked about. International organizations have denounced the occupation regime for deliberately targeting civilians and causing starvation through a siege, obstruction of humanitarian aid, and targeted attacks on aid workers. It's disgusting, and the fact that we're allowing this to happen, our silence is consent, and I don't consent to this neo-colonial aggression being carried out by my country or the disgusting state of Israel that we fund and support. So let's go on to this next one here. Israel allowed less than 1/3 of humanitarian aid into Gaza in December. This is what I was just saying here. Out of 96 such humanitarian movements planned for the first half of December, just 16 were facilitated by the Israeli authorities. This is ridiculous, man. It's just completely ridiculous. Unreal. Let's go. Let's see here how they... Germany finds Human Rights Watch report on Israel acts of genocide in Gaza shocking. Right, this is the report that the last article just alluded to. Recent news, again, UN Security Council adopts resolution on protection of children in armed conflict. Oh, wow. So this is a new resolution that has, designed because of this conflict, but it looks like it's meant to apply to all warfare here. The UN Security Council on Friday unanimously adopted a resolution demanding the protection of children during armed conflicts, Anadolu News Agency reported. The resolution, spearheaded by Malta, received the votes of all 15 members of the Council. Co-sponsored by over 100 UN member states, the resolution condemned all violations of international law regarding the recruitment and use of children in armed conflicts. It urged all relevant parties to obey the international obligations related to the protection of children who might be affected by armed conflicts and urged for full cooperation with the UN. The resolution further demanded all member states, as well as the UN, include child protection in all relevant activities. It seems to me like that's a little jab at these, say like the African states, for instance, where it's well known that they would, abduct children, and they would have child soldiers in their militaries, right? Built with prisoners of war that they would capture during these like village raids. The real issue here is that the neo-colonial territory of Israel is murdering Palestinian children. Let's not get that twisted, and that's why that resolution was created and adopted. So again, this is more stuff from Middle East Monitor. Let's move on here. Yep, that's what we just opened there. Gaza's Christians fear threat of extinction amid Israeli genocidal war. This is crazy. I don't know, dude. Americans, what do you guys do? Are you watching football? Are the games good? Like, who is the champ this year? Like, was it just awesome to watch? I don't know. What TV shows are so good? Are you getting the latest phone? Like, what is so important to people that we're literally talking about extinction of a whole people? And these are, our brothers and sisters in faith, specifically here in this situation with the Christians. I could go on and on about that part of things, but like, we're talking about a real genocide and a real extermination of a whole group of people, a theft of their lands that's happening right in front of all of our eyes, man. I just never thought that this stuff would actually be real, or I would see something like this. And if we don't act as Americans and citizens of the West, we're going to see a lot of things that we never thought we would. I can promise you guys that. Amid the ongoing Israeli war in the coastal strip, the Palestinian Christians in Gaza have never been spared from Israeli brutality. Although they constitute a minority within the Gaza Strip, numerous Palestinian Christians have suffered as a result of the relentless Israeli assaults. So I've been having problems with the audio playback, and that's what triggered the echoes. So I'll link that in the description with these other articles, and we're going to move on. Kill zone. Israeli soldiers expose shoot-to-kill policy in Gaza's Netzarim corridor. Unreal, man. Israeli soldiers have revealed appalling accounts of the notorious kill zone in the besieged Gaza Strip's Netzarim corridor, where lawlessness is rampant and a shoot-to-kill policy is exercised against Palestinian civilians. That's right, I remember this article. Okay. An investigative report on Wednesday, based on testimonies of a number of unnamed Israeli soldiers and commanders, exposed the terrifying accounts of the extreme violence unleashed against Palestinians in the Netzarim corridor, which is a zone of occupation that the Tel Aviv regime has set up in the Palestinian territory during its ongoing genocidal war in Gaza, Israel's leading daily Haaretz reported. Of 200 bodies, only 10 were confirmed as Hamas members, said an Israeli soldier who fought in Gaza, adding that anyone who crosses the imaginary line in the contested Netzarim corridor is shot to death, with every Palestinian casualty counting as a terrorist, even if they were just a child. This is real. Personnel of Israeli armed forces interviewed by Haaretz described arbitrary killings, collapsing military protocols, and lawless command decisions, all under the banner of security operations. Central to these revelations is the so-called kill zone in the Netzarim corridor, a 7-kilometer wide strip stretching from Kibbutz Be'eri to the Mediterranean. According to the report, the area has been cleared of Palestinian residents, with their homes demolished for the construction of military roads and positions. Although Palestinians are officially banned from entering, testimonies suggest the reality is far more brutal. Soldiers reported that civilians who entered these zones are killed and often labeled as terrorists, inflating casualty statistics. According to one veteran, unit commanders turn these numbers into competitions, seeking to surpass each other in reported killings. For the division, the kill zone extends as far as a sniper can see, said a recently discharged Division 252 officer. We're killing civilians there who are then counted as terrorists, end quote. Right out of their mouth. The officer stressed that the announcements by the Israeli military about casualty numbers have turned this into a competition between units. If Division 99 kills 150 people, the next unit aims for 200. This line of dead bodies, as it's known among soldiers, has become infamous for its grim markers. Uncollected corpses left to decompose, attracting stray dogs. The presence of these dogs serves as a warning for Gaza residents to avoid the area. The forces in the field call it the line of dead bodies, said an Israeli commander in Division 252, adding, after shootings, bodies are not collected, attracting packs of dogs who come to eat them. In Gaza, people know that wherever you see these dogs, that's where you must not go. This is Jewish law and order. The testimonies also reveal incidents of moral and ethical breakdown. In one case, soldiers opened fire on a boy suspected of being a militant. After the shooting, they discovered he was an unarmed and only 16 years old. However, the battalion commander praised the soldiers for killing a terrorist and dismissed concerns over his civilian status. You can continue to read the rest of that article. We can't be excused for looking away from this, okay? So if you're amongst the people out there who are aware of these things and choose to just look away and keep your mouth shut, you can't do that anymore. We need to speak up and stand out. These people, their children, they're suffering because of the war that our money's funding and these people that we support. This is straight evil. Everyone should hear these things, see these things, and be repulsed, And if you're not, then I have some questions about you, So again, as an American, I just don't consent to our government's behavior in this regard at all. And we're going to go on to the next article. Israel's genocide, day 440. New reports of mass killings in Gaza surface. And there you go. I don't think this is German, but don't quote me on that. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. This was a general casualty figure of the war so far. 45,000 killed, 108,000 wounded. 59% are women, children, and elderly. 822 killed in the occupied West Bank. That's the one half of Jerusalem, in case you don't understand that. Literally, the city's cut in half, and that extends to the outer area around the city, and that's called the West Bank. It's more tame than Gaza. Gaza's being leveled. People are being exterminated from the Gaza Strip, whereas in the West Bank, the Jews are constrained by by the fact that it's a religious city that's shared by the world, period. So then on to Lebanon. 3,962 Lebanese citizens killed, 16,520 wounded just since last year. These are just regular citizens in Lebanon. Again, Israel does not target military targets. Their war is a war against the peoples of the land that they're stealing and their neighbors who are trying to stand up for them. Believe me, the Jews would rather have the Turks as their neighbors than Arabs, right? Whatever, Israeli death tolls. So some key developments here. Israel bombings have killed 51 Palestinians across the Gaza Strip since last week alone, Thursday. Oh no, this is from the early dawn of Thursday. So when was this from? This is from yesterday, should be. Oh no, so that was in one day. One day. So basically, it sounds like this article is probably written late in Thursday. And at the time of this article being written, what he's saying is like, since this morning, Jewish bombs have killed 51 people, right? 15 Palestinians were killed in Israeli strikes on 2 centers sheltering civilians east of Gaza City. Human Rights Watch released a report accusing Israel of deliberately depriving Palestinians in Gaza of access to clean water and committing acts of genocide. I'm going to have that one linked. That's up next here. And the Haaretz paper, I just went over that article. So Doctors Without Borders. So you see, I kind of got you all covered, guys. So go check this one out too. We're getting repetitive, and I'm not going to go into the Human Rights Watch. It deserves all of our attention. Please go ahead and check it out. Look at this. Human Rights Watch said in a press release that its 179-page report found that they were depriving Palestinians in Gaza access to safe water for drinking, sanitation, and basic needs for basic human survival, what it was just saying. So 179 pages, no shortage of information. Of evidence. Can you imagine what the edit would look like there? I bet you they had to cut that down in half. I mean, the atrocities are endless and countless. South Africa put together the case of genocide for the International Criminal Court, I believe, or the ICJ, one or the other, and extensive report. I mean, it was, I forget the page count and all the details of the report, but it was extremely long and extensive, and justifiably so. What we're witnessing here is a crime against humanity, the likes of which we have never seen. No one alive has seen anything close to this. We're literally witnessing something bigger and worse than anything seen during the Second World War. No doubt about it. So look, let's go back here. We're going to pop back over to OBS. I had some, let me see what time we got. 30 minutes. Yeah, we're going to cut this one. We'll cut this now here. And I have 2 more articles about Israel and this theater, the theater of the Levant. I'm referring to, if you follow my work, I'm acknowledging the fact already that this is the Third World War, and I'm calling this the Levant or the Southern Front. And, with what's happening right now with Turkey, Erdogan risks connecting that all the way up through across the Black Sea and up the River Dnieper, which it looks at this point like Russia's going to control right up to there. So, this we're going to keep it to that, because these other 2 articles I have really have to do with Israel's recent exchange with the Houthis, or Ansar Allah, in Yemen, and I'm going to talk about that as its own issue. So look for 2 more live streams coming in short order here. One about Ansar Allah down there, and the blockade and everything that they're doing. I mean, because that's the southernmost extent of the southern front of the Third World War. The blockade of the Red Sea is a massive thing that is affecting the Israeli effort. So you see, they've now put their attention towards them, and towards Yemen. And believe me, in my opinion, this has a lot to do with the fact that they just had their attention on Syria, and they executed that plan, which the result of which is that Lebanon and Hezbollah's supply lines and the axis of resistance supply lines in general have now been cut and disrupted and put into question. So you see, now they're turning down to the south, and they're saying, man, what can we do about this blockade? If we could affect this now and get shipping through the Red Sea, now we're cooking with gas. And believe me, that's what they're thinking. So tune into this next live stream. We're going to talk about that, and I have some additional thoughts to the specific face-off between Ansar Allah and Israel, what that means for the war, and it's a big deal. Let's just put it that way. And then furthermore, the additional live stream is going to be looking at some things out of the northern front of West Asia and the Ukraine and Russia conflict. So tune back in for those two. I hope everybody's doing well that's watching this. I hope you have a blessed day, and please support, like my stuff. I have no one watching, and I would really, really appreciate any support that I could get here with this. So just trying to get the truth out to people and introduce some people to actual reality, right? That's the goal here. So bless up, everybody. Be good. Happy Saturday, and I'll be back on here shortly. See you in a bit. Peace.